What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, although it seems like as of this moment the Chicago Bulls will not have much to say in relation to the NBA draft, there is still many people, many insiders, many fans in general just talking about the Chicago Bulls potentially trading for an NBA draft pick for the 2023 NBA draft. And I kind of want to discuss about whether or not the Chicago Bulls will do this. Of course, there are a couple of rumors and news about the whole situation as well, which we will get into, I guess, in this video as well. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, and do you believe the draft saga is over? Now, I did make a video a couple of days ago talking about what's next for the Chicago Bulls in relation to what can they do in terms of going after the NBA draft. What's next after the NBA draft? And there are a couple of options available. Obviously, one, doing deals with certain teams to make sure they could get a draft pick, a first round draft pick this time around. Obviously, option two would be to get a second round pick, which would not be too hard to do. And then obviously the third option would be, you know, waiting to see if there's any undrafted talent available for the Chicago Bulls and pick them up on a two-way contract, with the fourth option being essentially just completely ignore everything altogether and move on from the NBA draft and don't look back. Those are the real options that we have as a Chicago Bulls organization. But many people, as I said before, do believe that it is time to get a high draft pick with the Chicago Bulls team, and it's time to make a trade to ensure it. And of course, that's what I'm going to be talking about today, because Arturas Karnisovas, and I believe Marc Eversley has as well, has been looking and attending these young players and the draft prospects of the NBA draft. They've been attending those camps and training, I guess, with these young athletes in many ways, just trying to see what they're all about. And it's completely normal. Let's not forget, last year we were doing this for a massive amount of second round talent in terms of training with them, seeing it, giving them workouts, seeing how good they are, and whether or not there is potential for them beyond, obviously, the NBA draft. And we ended up picking up Justin Lewis in the, I guess, undrafted pool. We picked him up on a two-way contract. So there's not out of the realms of possibility to see the Chicago Bulls, I guess, work with younger athletes, giving them their tryouts and stuff of that nature and assessing their situation. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily define much for the Chicago Bulls. In the end, we didn't trade our first round pick at the time. We didn't go higher. We didn't go lower. We didn't have a second round pick in general. So we were drafting the second round options, or we're looking at them, my apologies, just to see if we can get someone in the undrafted pool. We didn't make a trade to go and get a second round pick. So just because they're doing their due diligence, which is what they should be doing, at the end of the day, they have to get paid for something. They can't just sit at home and just say, look, we don't have a draft pick, we're not going to assess any of these guys. At the end of the day, some of those guys can be franchise changing in many ways if you view them that way. So altogether, the way that I see it, this is them earning their money in many ways. Looking at the draft pool, looking at the talent, seeing if any talent can fit the Chicago Bulls team, and if need be, pull the trigger on a trade. That's what I think they're trying to do. But that's the question, can they do that? And will they be able to do that? Well, again, the talent's going to have to impress. That's my answer in this whole situation. If you really think the Chicago Bulls are going to risk what they have right now for some draft picks, the draft pool, the talent in that draft has to be top notch. You need to ensure that there's a player there for the Chicago Bulls that we know will make a difference straight away in my eyes, or if there's so much future potential of superstardom with a player. That's how I see the Chicago Bulls making a big move. For example, a lot of people are talking about making a deal with Portland. I've mentioned it as well. I believe Portland have the 3rd overall pick in the NBA draft. Now, we know for a fact we're not making a deal with the Spurs. There's no way the Spurs are giving up their 1st overall pick. No chance. But outside of that, it looks like there could be business done with a bunch of teams in terms of getting their picks. This draft class, for many people, has considered not necessarily a huge talented one, besides obviously the 1st overall pick. So the way that I see it, it's going to have to take something big, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bulls to really make a change. A lot of people will say the Chicago Bulls will just do nothing and sit there and not really wait for anything. And look, that might be the outcome. But at the end of the day, We don't have a first round pick, and we know if we're going to have to do a deal with the Portland Trailblazers or do a deal with the higher echelon draft picks in the NBA draft, we're going to have to trade one of our cornerstone players or one of our core players in order to get that done. You're not going to get a high draft pick for peanuts. So for someone, for example, like DeMar DeRozan, who's obviously been rumored and linked to a lot of trade talks, the draft pool there, the talent there, they're going to have to do the workouts with them, of course, give them the tryouts. Obviously, they'll be questioning them as well, basically giving an interview in many ways. And if they find those players are worth it, they will do the trade. They will trade DeMar DeRozan. They will trade, I guess, even if it's a sign and trade for Vucevic at some stage, whatever the case may be, they'll be willing to trade those pieces and maybe even additional picks for that player. But I just think it's easier said than done, and that's why I wouldn't put all my money on the Bulls trading into the NBA draft. Is it possible? Absolutely. I said it before, I think the Bulls are really believe that they can select talent well. I truly believe in my heart that that's how they think. So I wouldn't be opposed for them taking a risk and taking getting rid of a core player to try and go a little bit younger. And let's say, for example, we get the Portland Trailblazers 3rd overall pick, because there has been rumors that they're shopping around the 3rd overall pick and they're looking for a superstar player to pair up with Damian Lillard. To be honest, the way that I see it, I think they're doing a lot to try and please Damian Lillard, but at the end of the day, I just don't think anything they do at this point is going to help that Portland Trailblazers team. I think it's past, in many ways, its capabilities, but I can be wrong, of course. Either way, they want to win and they want to build around Damian Lillard to do so. So in reality, they're looking for a superstar player. If we can get the 3rd overall pick for, for DeMar DeRozan, you trade DeMar DeRozan, you might trade additional picks, I don't know, to go and get the 3rd overall pick. You select your player, and that player turns out to be the cornerstone of the Chicago Bulls in the future. That's obviously ideal. You go a little bit younger, you change the, identity of the team a lot, and you have your future as well. You still got guys like Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, all young key pieces that are there for the Chicago Bulls. All of a sudden, this team goes from a team that's considered a little bit older with DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic to going a tad bit younger. And that's what people want at the end of the day. But if the talent's not good enough, it's not good enough. And we shouldn't be taking risks by trying to assess whether or not the talent will be good enough. But you have to evaluate potential as well in the process. It is as simple as that. And that's where I think the Chicago Bulls will have to make the decision about trading into the draft. Of course, the talent might not be there. This might be considered a bad draft class. But in the end, if they can find the potential in a player and they can build upon that, then they might take that risk, and I wouldn't be opposed to it either. But in the end, it's a wait and see approach, and my honest thoughts is I don't see the Chicago Bulls trading into the NBA draft, especially for a high draft pick. I know it's a whole rumor. I know Portland is probably the team to deal with if you want their pick, because they're looking to shop it at the end of the day. The Bulls should be in that conversation. We should be looking to see what package we could do with Portland to get that 3rd overall pick with this Chicago Bulls team. Of course, we need to be in those conversations, and I hope that we continue to be in those conversations. But when it's all said and done, whether Portland keep their pick or where Portland trades their pick, whatever the case may be, it is important to note that there is a high possibility, in my eyes, the Chicago Bulls will not be trading into this NBA draft. They'll probably be looking for undrafted talent. We've seen them do that 3 times in a row. Devon Dotson, obviously Justin Lewis. I expect them to do it this time again, making it 3 times in a row. And we'll have to wait and see how things go. That's what I think will happen with the Chicago Bulls team, but I'd like to know what you guys think. I know the easy answer will be yes, we absolutely should be trading into the NBA draft. We should be going for a very high pick in the NBA draft. We should be going for a player that could be a cornerstone piece. I absolutely agree in the sense that a lot of the vast majority of Bulls fans will believe that. And I wouldn't mind that happening either. But we got to be realistic. Do you see the Bulls doing that? Because it's easy for us to think about it, and it's easy for us to say, let's go and do that. Will the Bulls do that? That's the question. They're the ones that has to scout these players. They're the ones that needs to have those training sessions with those players, to have interviews with those players, potentially have 2nd and 3rd tryouts with these players. So they have a lot more information than we probably have. Will they make that decision? it's easier said than done in my eyes. So let's wait and see. And of course, there's a high possibility that Portland might want more than DeMar DeRozan, you know? They're packaging for a superstar. DeMar DeRozan is a superstar in my eyes. And I do think he makes Portland better because, again, they're looking for an elite small forward. He is a small forward, DeMar DeRozan. He plays there recently. And the guy can average 24 points and 5 assists a night. Of course, Portland would be very intrigued in a player like that. But the value of that third round or the third overall pick could be very high, and maybe we have to give up more than just DeMar DeRozan. So, again, it's really up to, I guess, Portland and what they decide to do. Let's wait and see what ends up happening. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.